you saw the very best players the entire country has to offer, and you saw it throughout the course of the weekend.
He's growing, he's improving at such a rapid rate. He's going to be a very good player.
This guy's a cross between Sean Marion and Lamar Odom. He's a 6'8" lefty, a high-level athlete, but also got a little bit of point-forward skills in him as he can handle and pass the ball extremely well. At this point, they are simply the standard by which everyone else is judged in prep school basketball. He's considering the likes of Michigan, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas.
Welcome back to the Upside Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Finkelstein, and this week's guest is a special one. Becky Bonner grew up in New England as one of the most well-known basketball families in Concord, New Hampshire. Her brother, Matt, played at Florida for Billy Donovan before playing more than a decade in the NBA and winning 2 championships with the Spurs. Younger brother Luke played at West Virginia and UMass before playing professionally abroad. Becky began her college career at Stanford before finishing at BU. She played professionally in Sweden before joining the coaching profession with stops at Maryland and Louisville. She then went to work in the NBA league office for 6 years, where she managed global outreach and, if my research is correct, traveled to 72 different countries, including alongside the 2016 Olympic team and the 2014 national team as a precursor to that. She was even falsely reported, obviously, to have died in a plane crash, along with former NBA player Sam Perkins. She's now entering her 4th season as the Director of Player Development and Basketball Operations with the Orlando Magic, and has been described on more than one occasion as the leading candidate to be the first female general manager in the NBA. So, a big thank you to Becky Bonner for joining us here today.
Thanks, Adam. It's great to be here.
Did I get any of that wrong? Wikipedia is very unreliable.
Gosh, it sounded good to me.
All right, great. Well, I figured we could start chronologically and be true to both of our New England roots. And you should know that as we record this, I assume you're in Orlando. I'm in Connecticut, and there's a foot of snow outside.
So I was just going to brag that I had to put on a sweatshirt because I was cold.
Yeah, I'm 4 layers here. So this is but I wanted to take us back. Growing up in New Hampshire, I've read that both you and your brothers obviously were basketball players. Read that both of your parents were very tall. They passed that on to their children. What I didn't see, though, were your parents basketball players? Did you guys all get the love of the game from your parents?
We definitely got our height from our parents. I'm the shortest in the family at 6'2". My mom's 6'3.5". My dad's 6'7", 6'8". You know, in their old age, they've shrunk a little bit there. But Growing up, we were quite a large family. And I've been this tall since I was 11 or 12 years old. So just, came right out of the gate being huge. And, our parents didn't play basketball.
Really?
I mean, our dad played high school. It was a different time for women in sports for my mom. And so, your
mom was a skier or a swimmer or something like that, did I read?
No, she was a student, an academic.
Okay.
I think she she played a little of basketball, but nothing like, it wasn't like her love.
Yeah, sure.
And then my dad played, he did everything. He did hockey, he did football, he did basketball, but nothing like super serious about it.
Right.
And enrolled in the Army. So, but he's a huge sports fan. Like I remember growing up, and him and his buddies would go out to the Big Ten tournament or March Madness thing they could, or would go down to New Hampshire College, which is now SNHU, and watch like college games there. And and the game was always on in our house, whether it was the Celtics or anything like that. So we grew up that way.
Now, you just mentioned that you were 6'2" at 11 years old, and I had also read that you were playing primarily with boys in those middle school years because the girls could be mean. That quote certainly could have been misattributed, but that's got to be a hard thing socially for a young girl to be 6'2".
I think, to have my mom and everyone else in my family, Matt and I were neck and neck there for a while. Like I was taller, because girls I think start out quicker,
right,
and then mature faster than guys, and that was the case with Matt. And then he just went and kept going. But just to be around everybody that tall, I sort of didn't feel that uncomfortable. But then, and then I was so into sports. And so because of that, I always had an activity or something to do around sports that it became more comfortable. And then, there were the all, every teenage girl goes through her and boy goes through their awkward phases. And
Sure.
yeah. And so those moments were, of course, terribly awkward and uncomfortable. But that kind of stuff just makes you who you are and helps you figure out, real life. And so it prepares you for the real world, because the real world can be pretty tough.
Right. No doubt. So you end up, you star at Concord High School, you get recruited by Tara Vanderveer, you played Stanford, Boston University. Then you go to Sweden. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see like a pattern starting to evolve a little bit, because I read that you were able to work out with the men team who were playing professionally abroad over there too. So there's a commonality with those middle school years. Is that right?
Yeah, actually that is right. I can't really tell you why, but I was just very lucky and comfortable with the group of guys that I started playing with, and they're, that was my crew. And I did travel team with them and all that kind of stuff, and those were my guys. And so it became really like the way it was for me, and just the norm. And so then going over, even in college, we had a lot of women's programs have men practice players or that kind of stuff. And so just being
I did that on UConn on one unfortunate camp session. Set me straight real quick. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
No, it didn't go well. Yeah.
But and so for going overseas, practice was in the evening, because it wasn't like a top league or anything like that. It was like people that played on my team had school or jobs during the day, and then in the evening we had practice from like 6 to 8. And so I was there just to do that. And so just to keep me busy, I would go over and do individual skill development with the men's non-Swedish players in the league on the team.
Gotcha. So was there any, did that help set the stage for being able to, be a pioneer in the NBA, obviously an all men's professional league, and just the comfort level with your brothers and growing up playing against boys at various stages? Or is there not as much to that? That me just creating my own narrative on my Friday.
Here's kind of, I've given it a little bit of thought, and I kind of remember this really specific time where, Matt and Luke played for Frank Alosa and Joe Dryden on the Granite State Raiders. And, I don't know how well you know Frank, but, if practice was at, say, 5 o'clock, it didn't necessarily mean that he was going to be there at 5 o'clock. And so all these people would be in the gym and, ready to go. And we kind of did, I can recite our practice. We kind of did like the same drills to start everything. And then he would come in and we'd go. And so I grew a little frustrated one day, because we were doing full court right-handed layups forever. Like it felt like we were doing it forever. And so then I just took over. I don't remember. Maybe I was 13 or 14. And I just took over and I was like, all right, guys, let's go left hand. All right, 4 corners. I started to get everybody organized, because I just couldn't do this for an hour. I just thought it was so ridiculous and so disrespectful, and it couldn't be on time again and all this stuff. And so, and I just kind of did it, and everybody just followed along. And so when he finally came, it was like, all right, scrimmage.
So there we have the beginning of the coaching career.
So I think that's kind of like, just out of sheer efficiency and frustration and stuff like that, I just kind of fell into that spot. And
it takes a certain confidence at a young age to be comfortable to assert yourself in that way.
Definitely. Like I said, we practice every day. We do the same things every day. And I was very confident. I knew exactly what we should be doing.
You knew where it was going. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So in the NBA office, 72 countries in 5 or 6 years, and the reported, what would we call that? I can't say the reported near-death experience, but you were premature reports of your demise. But you also got to travel with the Olympic team and the national team before that. What were those experiences like?
Being able to have the opportunity to be with USA Basketball under Coach K and Jerry Colangelo and Jim Tooley and all those guys, Sean Ford, UMass guy.
Yep.
And I think he lives in Connecticut too.
Connecticut guy, yeah.
Yeah. It was an absolute education and honor and tremendous learning experience. And I'm not just saying that. I actually mean it. I went out to Vegas during training camp, and I feel like I got like a tryout for my role. And because it is a big commitment. You're committing 45 days at minimum to, you wake up with this group, you eat breakfast, and then you go to practice, you go out to dinner. Like everything you do is with these people, and so they really want the people they want to be around every day.
Right.
And so to sort of like get that acceptance meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And everyone, it's like the 1% of our league, right? It participates in this event, and then it's also the next generation of 1% that then learns from it, and that's how we keep the greatness alive. And so it was really, really awesome to be around everybody and learn and see, oh wow, like this elite athlete, this player is the best player in our league, and he does his stationary dribbling drills every single day, and like some kids think they're too cool to do that, and it's like that's really what it takes. It's like just to see everything that you've been told by your coach, and you're like, no way he does that, and then just to see how hard these guys work and their commitment to their craft and being the best, fueling their bodies, getting their rest, doing the extra work, and making sure investing in their career, which is their body, and maximizing everything, and then learning from each other. It was actually really special. And
I would imagine. And that was
that front row seat.
LeBron and KD were among that group? Yes. Gotcha. So now what I wanted, if you'll allow me, is to start digging into the role with the Magic. It seems so again, in my preparation for this, one of the quotes I saw is that you said, I speak player, meaning that you can, communicate with the guys. But the thing that really stuck out to me was the width of your responsibilities in terms of being the touch point, I believe is the terminology you use, for the front office, the coaching staff, and all the different points in the organization. So the thing that kind of fascinates me about that is you probably can't speak player with all of those different groups. And so the communication styles have to be really versatile. And it's got to be a skill set in and of itself to be able to go in and build rapport at so many different levels within the organization. It's definitely a challenge. It's challenging. It's super challenging. You have to be mindful of the big picture and all the different aspects of the organization that are functioning at once, and be mindful of how the right hand needs to know what the left hand is doing, but maybe not today. Maybe that, and like understanding what needs to go where and when, and how to navigate it. Right. And then communicate it. Saying I speak player was just a silly throwaway thing that but the point was clear. Yeah. But I understand that, I guess how to have a conversation and keep it going the way we need to go. And so I sort of see myself as sort of a bridge or connector almost between all of these things. So when you talk about like the players, then you have the performance staff, then you have the coaches, and then you have the owners, you have the business side, you have the front office, you have PR, you have community relations, you have agents. You deal with all that. You have agents, yes. You have agents, you have family members and loved ones, and bros like friends and like stuff like that. And so all these people, if you
want a piece of something that has to do with this guy or our organization and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, and everyone matters. This is a service role. And so I'm here to make sure everyone feels connected and warm and a part of things as layered as they need to be, And so I think that with this comes ups and downs and good days and bad days and, winning cures everything type of thing. But I really believe that I have a high care factor because I feel like basketball has done so much for me and my family. And specifically the NBA, it's literally changed our lives. And so, and shown me the world, actually shown all three of us the world. And so I just feel like I'm just giving back to it because it's given me so much and my family so much. And so when I think about a player, and, some people are like, oh, I don't really want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with that. Like if my mom and dad came to a game, I would want them treated. I would want everything to go smooth for them so they have no stress, no worries. They just get to their seat. And so I think about that. Or, I've mopped the floor. I've driven the 12-seat passenger van. I've done the laundry. I've moved the basket. I've done a lot of jobs that have to go along with putting a team together or a club or organization or university.
Right.
And so being mindful of how the importance of each role and how that, or who the people are and how that you really are a key influencer around a player if you're around them every day. And that needs to be the right way, done the right way and doing the right mission. And so I just really believe that winning is systematic. And so it's just kind of important that to lock in. We ask our guys to lock in, so I'm locked in too, and just go side by side working with them to make sure to do my best in my role and not get in anyone's way, never be negative to anyone because it's a grind, man. We play 82 games. It's not a 9-to-5 job.
I was gonna say, do you ever get?
I worked on Christmas, so I'm gonna take a comp day and extend it for this holiday so I can do this. It's not that, it's a lifestyle, and you bring your loved ones along with you for the ride, and so it becomes that it's not just a job.
Very, very clearly. Now, with all of those responsibilities, how important was the opportunity to be involved in basketball operations when you decided to join the Magic? So they come in and recruit you away from the league office, and but how important was the opportunity to be involved in the basketball operation side in addition to everything else that you just mentioned?
It's really important to be involved in the basketball ops side with the team because that gives you street cred, right? Straight up. You're not just there to, be a box check in diversity or whatever or anything like that. Like, you know how how the sausage is made, and you've been a part of winning and seen winning, and you can contribute and evaluate players and understand all that kind of stuff. So that was absolutely crucial.
And has the job how has the job evolved? You're going into your 4th season, if I'm not mistaken. How have those responsibilities? I've read that you've built up your own team, trying to, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but trying to transition to more of the ops side of it. Is that, and that may be an overstatement, but how has the job evolved? In year 1 versus year 4.
The job has evolved and I have evolved. It was super humbling my first year. I had a lot of challenges and tough times, to be honest with you. And I made mistakes, and it's not a knock or a negative thing. It's a learning opportunity, right? And so being able to self-reflect and learn and say, oh, okay, and take a step back and understand that there's a lot to this. And so, learning the best way to talk about a player and with regard to evaluation or something like that, and understanding all that kind of stuff has been probably the biggest learning curve because it's a little bit different than anything else I've really done. And then the job is just, there's different people that you have to work with and get to know and all that kind of stuff. And so having more clarity of role or understanding, hey, I really like this versus this, or I see myself doing this more, or someone said I'm good at this and they see me like they want my help over here and that kind of stuff. So it's changed, I guess. I love watching pro. I love watching college. I like to know all about players and see who's the next group and next best player and all that kind of thing. And so I'm just a basketball fan, and I watch everything, as much as I can.
And does the close proximity to the guys, does that make, because you're working with them in so many different capacities, does that make it easier or harder to interject on personnel decisions in the front office side?
Probably easier. I guess so. Neither. It's just a part of it. I'm at every practice. I'm at every road trip and that kind of stuff. Like I'm at every road trip. I'm at every practice, and I'm around players a lot. And it's not like a big chunk of my role in that capacity is like, oh, I got to figure out this for the front office personnel. It's really not. I'm just being myself and making their lives easier, because my primary job is to help them maximize their career and be successful. Gotcha. And so that's the number one thing.
Gotcha. So the goal of being a GM, you've talked openly about that. I've seen you talk about vertical growth. When did that become like the tangible goal of saying, I'd like to be a general manager in the NBA?
Sort of, I guess I would say there's a lot of, I've been working and doing this for a long time. As you mentioned, my brothers both played, and through that alone, we know a lot of people, right?
Sure. The network's gotta be.
We talk about all the people that we have in common, and so I'm also working in this industry, and it's been a long time I've been working, right. And to see people that I've been around take that role, and I know them, and they know me, like I think, well, if he can do it, so can I.
Sure.
And so that's kind of when it becomes like, why not?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
What else would I be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Are there, as being a pioneer in, a female in the NBA, are there stereotypes that you've had to fight, hiring practices that you've had to, anything that challenges that people might not expect, or maybe not? Maybe it's been just the opposite.
I would say, the art of the cosign is really crucial for women. I'm very fortunate to have that, I think, in my corner between my family and people I've worked with. So that for sure helps get you through and move you along. I think that's true though for men too, in our league too. So it's just kind of the nature of this NBA culture. And so that's been huge. And I think that outside of that, having more women along in the role in basketball operations, helping the team and supporting and making decisions is also really important.
Is it true? Is there an email chain that I read? Is this a true story about some of the female executives in the league?
It's a text group. We have a chat. Yes, we do.
Gotcha. And are you running that like the full court left-hand layups, or no?
It's very random, that when you report to your team and the season takes over, it kind of sucks you in. And so when you come up for air, you're like, I need to ask this question to the group. I'll put something out there, or someone will ask and I'll know the answer. Especially with all these COVID protocols, there's a lot of questions and
that can imagine. So it's more like a support system than anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, and you alluded to this earlier, but in terms of it being a lifestyle, with all the people all those touch points that you've mentioned, how does that, what personal sacrifices does that require? Because I think a lot of people, you must get this a ton. People saying, what path can I follow, or how do I do this? And really, the message that I try and give people is not even someone at your level, but just to get into sports, it's just supply and demand. Everybody wants to be in it. So you've got to be willing to go above and beyond time and time again, just to get your foot in the door and then a chance to do it all over again. Now, to be in your shoes, that's got to be magnified even more. So, I mean, what sort of, if you don't mind getting into the specifics of it, does your cell phone ever get turned off? Or, how does that work in terms of personal sacrifices?
To me, no, I don't turn my cell phone on, but I'm a very good communicator. And I'm also really true to myself. And I know that, I have to put my oxygen mask on first before I can take care of anybody else. So I have to take care of myself and make sure I'm good in order to help others, And so I do that, I set my boundaries if you need to, but I'm always available, for sure, always available. I'm always going to get right back. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to find it. If someone asks me to do something and I don't know how to do it, I'm going to figure it out. And I'm never going to leave someone hanging. I'm not going to ghost anybody. And if I do, I legit didn't see it, or it didn't get to me. And someone should you should follow up, because if you hit me and I didn't get back to you, that's very rare.
Right.
And so to me, it's not like a big deal if I'm at a family gathering to step away and say, hey, I got to take this call, or I'm going to do this. It's 10 minutes of the day. It's going to help somebody else, and it's no sweat. And if I need my time, hey, so-and-so, I'm here. I'm available to you from here to here, but I got to go off the grid for a minute, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And so I'm super proactive about that about when if I'm not going to be around or whatever it is. But I'm generally trying to be available, trying to serve, and make sure that and be that dependable resource for our organization.
Now I'm gonna geek out a little bit, if you don't mind, because I'm very into like the daily routine stuff. So you did say the put on your oxygen mask before everybody else. So what are like the, I don't want to be too cliche and say the daily dozen or anything, but what are, in terms of just putting on your oxygen mask, what does that look like? What are the things that you have to do for yourself every day?
I'm very affected by the physiological. So that means I need my sleep. I need to be rest. Like I need to take care of my sleep, and be well fed, and work out. And so I am hooked on the Peloton, everything. So I do my Peloton workouts, whether it's bike, treadmill, or weights, every single day, pretty much. And I do, I make sure I'm getting my rest and my hydration and my food, and I keep myself healthy. And then, if I need some girl time, I'll take my girl time. If I need to watch a silly show on Bravo or something like that, just to have my mind go out elsewhere, I'll do that. But that's kind of how I do it. I have a great life. I enjoy it. And and all that, but it's not gonna. I have a perspective and understanding of all the things that go on in the world, and what it takes, what it takes to be happy.
Yeah,
and get yourself there.
No doubt. Well, that is a really good place to leave it. I want to be respectful of your time. I'm sure you're I know you're in season here, and so I can't thank you enough for making the time to do this with all that you have. Know that New England is rooting for you. We're rooting hard for the first female GM to be from New Hampshire. And thank you so much for making the time to do this.
Of course, and thank you, and good luck with the snowstorm.
Yeah, no, the shovel is coming up. That's really why I'm canceling this. I gotta go outside and shovel right now. What is it, like 70 degrees down there right now?
It's probably 60s and windy. It's very windy.
And everybody's cold.
It's true, your blood thins. I'm soft now. It's crazy.
Well, everybody, that is Becky Bonner, a pioneer in the world of the NBA and basketball in general. And until next time, I'm your host, Adam Finkelstein. Thanks, as always, for listening to the Upside Podcast.